Welcome to CEO Insights Asia Executive Series, Principles of Scaling. Welcome to CEO Insights Asia Executive Series, Principles of Scaling. Is the strongest enterprise are those that constantly evolve. It's no longer the game of how big you are, but now the game is how big your ecosystem is.
Now, but I think this really speaks volume why we're attracted to hang out with one another. Like for example, in CEO Insights Asia, I really like spending time there because I'm surrounded with like-minded people. So,
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to CEO Insights Asia Executive Series, Principles of Scaling. And today's topic is about walk the talk. So the key message in that after this session is that you'll be able to know how to install business innovations in your organizations. Just a quick reminder why we do this every Friday at 10 a.m. is we want to install DNA principles that scale organizations. So to all our participants here in Zoom, we have 17,000 and the viewers in Facebook, if you want to join the conversations, come in here. The link is there. What we want to accomplish is that we want you to gain or get one insight, even just at least one insight that you can immediately apply and execute in your organization, in your day-to-day operations. So that's the reason why we do this every Friday at 10 a.m. So the focus for this month is being methodical, where we manifest an insatiable drive to do better. We're going to be talking about obsessing in performance. We'll talk about immersing in details and also living in ideas in the coming weeks. So a quick overview of what we have tackled this month. Week 1, we talked about the system of systems, where the key objective was to build one simplified system in our organization. Last week, we talked about the checklist CEO, where we learned how to install one daily system in our organization. And today, we are on week 3. We're gonna have the topic walk the talk. Kasi usually si Surfa yung nag-share nito. But for today, we invited a very important guest that will share to us these topics because Surfa is on his special anniversary trip. So Surfa, if you're watching, happy anniversary sa inyo ni Tidoy. And then next week, on week 4, he's gonna be back and we're gonna talk about the devil in details. Okay, so a few announcements before we start. We have our circle meetings every 11 a.m. Last week, we had our circle meeting with CEO Jillian Desapala of Envision. And this is what's happening inside the circle meetings, where we have intensive CEOs leadership training and we share business practices and insights to help our organizations. So for this week, Tuesday, next week, you can choose any of these circle multipliers. If you want to be part of any circle, sign up in the link that Carol will send on the chat. Ayan. Okay. So ito na yon. Everyone's excited. It is my honor to introduce the go-to mentor ng startup, the man behind Bounce Back Philippines, with over 30 businesses under his care. Riselli, Kita PH, Arc of Dreams, Kape & Co. na magbubukas na. Tara na, magkape na tayo doon. To name a few. And many other ventures under his Innoventures. Yan yung pangalan ng kanyang venture, no? I think many of us already know him. We call him as Tito J. And very generous na knowledge tong tao na to. Whenever you ask him, he really answers. And usually he posts in Bounce Back like opportunities for you to learn about entrepreneurship. So today he gave us his time to share about the topic walk the talk. So it is my honor to introduce our next our speaker for today, Mr. Jason Dela Rosa. Sir, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you, Chris, and thank you for invite Noel. Si Fa kasi, no? May anniversary. So ako muna today. No? But our topic today is business innovation. I'd like to welcome everyone to CEO Insights. I'd like to share my screen. Okay lang, Chris?
Sige po. Carrie?
Okay. So can everybody see my full screen right now? Okay naman, no? Kita niyo yung full screen ngayon. I'm not sure if you can hear me, guys. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, sir.
great.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. So innovation. Why am I talking about innovation? So 20 plus years na ako, no, obsessed with innovation. And later I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you also what I've been doing and how you can apply this to your business. So let me just tell you, yung mga hindi nakakilala sa akin, I'm currently chairman of the Innoventures group. I was former director of business and innovation sa Ateneo de Manila University. Okay. And founder of Bounce Back Philippines. And I authored a book 2019. I'm releasing the revised version this 2022. And for 20 years, ever since actually 1999, year 2000, I was one of the very first to launch a full e-commerce platform in the Philippines called Field Gifts, no? And I was able to gain traction along with other innovations, no, in the field. Later, I'll show you some of them, no, how I came up with them, and how these innovations transformed into what I am today. No, so as Chris mentioned, Innoventures Group is a group already of 34 plus ventures, and it's still growing. We incubate, we invest, we buy into, we create new ventures in all of these categories: e-commerce, esports, e-learning, e-health. Recently in the metaverse space, digital services, and food and beverage. No, so matitikman nyo rin ang pugon pata namin very soon, this April. Sana matikman nyo dahil that's another innovation from our group, yung Frito King. Napakasarap na pugon pata. Padala namin kayo, pero mura lang. Okay? And I'm releasing the revised version of my book 2022 next April. So hopefully you can get a copy. Yung experience ko for 20 plus years as an entrepreneur, it's really in this book. So I hope you get a copy. Now I'm going to start with why innovation is essential. Okay, why do we need innovation? It's because innovation and change happens, inevitably around us. No? So maraming mga unexpected things that happen, like the pandemic. And a lot of innovations happen then because of the pandemic, no? Because change is inevitable. Things always change. Government policies change. Market forces are changing. You see it in social media. Trends are always changing from this to that. No, in 1 week, ito uso. Next week, iba na naman ang uso. So if you don't innovate, no, you will just die a natural death, your business, no? Because there will be more valuable and cost-effective or better alternatives for your products, because there are no more long-lasting competitive advantages. No? Pag iniisip mo na meron kang competitive advantage ngayon, baka bukas wala ka ng competitive advantage because there are no long-lasting competitive advantages. And innovation allows companies to outperform industry competition. So you can differentiate yourself. So let me define what innovation is. No, let's not confuse ourselves with invention. So invention is really creating something new. No, scientists create it, engineers create new things. But in business, I like to see innovation as deconstruction and reconstruction. No, you try to deconstruct an idea, reconstruct it into something that is already solving a certain problem. But because you reconstructed it, it solves the problem better or creates more value for your customer. No, it doesn't mean that you have to invent something new in order to innovate. You don't have to invent a new product in order to innovate. No? So you can deconstruct something and reconstruct it. Later, papakita ko yung some examples of that. No? And we have what we call yung innovation that snowballs. So whenever you innovate, it snowballs into other innovations. For example, innovation sa mga electric cars. No, cars transform into electric cars. So it gives more value to the customer. No, cost saving siya. Tapos it impacts the environment. Ngayon, nagkaroon ng innovation sa electric cars. Ano yung susunod na? It snowballs into what? No, into electric public utility vehicles because it keeps on creating more value for the customer. No? So since may electric vehicles tayo, what's next? So public utility vehicles because it creates impact as a whole naman sa buong community. So more innovation on sustainable energy. No? So from a simple innovation on a function of a car, it now innovates to create impact on a bigger scale, which is a community, by using that electric car into public utility vehicles. All right? There are 3 types of innovations. Okay? So we have product, market, and process innovation. So product innovation innovates on the product itself, which includes you may innovate on the packaging, the way you deliver the product, the aesthetics, the attributes of the product, or the feature set of the product. Now, that's what we call product innovation. So you're able to deconstruct a product, reconstruct it again so that it solves another problem, but makes it better for the customer. Secondly, market innovation innovates the way you sell the product. So which includes probably the way you advertise your product, the way your logistics deliver the product gives more value or less cost, or how you sell it, what's your sales pitch, you innovate on that. That's what you call market innovation. And then process innovation innovates the way you build or you innovate your supply chain so that it saves more cost and deliver better quality and value for your customers. So these are the 3 things that you can innovate on. So hindi kailangan produkto lang, no? Pwedeng pati yung the way you deliver it or pati yung supply chain mo, basta it creates more value for your customer, less cost, more convenience, more value, then your innovation makes sense. No? So innovation, just like any other processes, it has to make sense. Hindi yung pwedeng, basta I'm an innovator, I innovate this. So this is an innovation, okay? It has to make sense, no? I've been doing innovation for so many years, 20 plus years na. And 60%, 70% would fail, probably 30% would do something great to my business. But I learned one thing, na what you have to do, which is what we call yung practical innovation. No? It's also in my book. It's actually one whole chapter in my book, yung practical innovation. Because innovation must take into consideration its relevance sa current market. No? Hindi lang yung future. Kasi ang mga ginagawa ng innovation, future-looking lang sila. No? It means, produkto ko, soon, people will adapt to it. So, but you have to make sure na at this point, yung stage ng innovation mo has relevance sa market. And the path it must take to endure the way to the product's ultimate state. Ibig sabihin, for you to be able to endure yung costs and yung difficulty or yung capacity, yung lack of capacity mo to innovate a product, dapat yung iteration mo of your product has to take into consideration na may bibili ng product mo or service mo, no? Or mayroong customer that will feel value right now as you bring your product to the ultimate state. No? So it means your product should have a potential to delight your customer today while you're innovating for the future. Okay? Magagamit na ba siya ngayon? No? Madi-delight na ba yung customer mo ngayon? And number 2, make sure that there's a viable market for it. No? You can make revenue as you create a new product or improve your product so that your company can endure as long as you can. No? Nakita natin itong pandemic, entrepreneurship or businesses. No, it's all about endurance and resilience. No? So you have to focus on cash flows pa rin, on costs, on delivering innovation. Maraming mga things you have to consider. That's why we call it practical innovation. No? A lot of startups, they focus too much on innovation, on passion, and to deliver the best product possible. No? That they forget to be practical about it. No? That kailangan merong viable market. I mean, nung time na ginawa yung bidet, pinagtawanan lang yun yung gumawa ng bidet. Pero nung it solved a problem of a certain country, isang country lang yon, then that's when it caught on. So you have to make sure na may bibili ng product at that current state while you're innovating. And third, you also have to make sure that you and your team, you have the capability to build your product with realistic timelines without overspending. No? Again, you may have the biggest dream, the biggest product innovation, market innovation, but if your team does not have the capability to deliver within the realistic timelines and without the funding to make it happen, then your innovation becomes fruitless. No? Because to reach a certain state of your innovation, you have to make sure of these three things. Delight your customer, have a viable market for it that has a good size, and your team should have the capability to deliver that innovation. Okay? Because a lot of startups fail because they neglect to create a new product that is compelling enough for customers to buy. Usually, sa innovation, I'm mentoring and we're talking to a lot of engineers in Ateneo. Okay, they tend to over-engineer their products. They tend to over-engineer na dahil they want to please themselves. No, they want to say, this is the best product that my brain can do. No, but they forgot na, teka, gagamitin na ba to? No, ng customer, bibili na ba to? Is somebody willing to buy this product? And I fell into that trap so many times. Now I create the very first actually we created one of the first search engines in the Philippines, no? Kasabay ng yehe.com, if you all remember that. No? After Yahoo, there was Yehe, which is a Philippine version of Yahoo, no? So I developed one of the first search engines in the Philippines back in year 2000, no? But I failed to that somebody is already servicing that market. It was Yahoo, Alta Vista, yung mga old search engines. Then Google came. No? So I wasn't able to sustain that innovation. No? Kailangan pala, napakaraming pera pala kailangan ko, no? Just to get members kasi yung revenue model. So that sustain it. If I had sustained it up to now, I may be one of the biggest search engine in the Philippines. But since Google came, I would have died as well. No? So that's an example of innovation, but I did not have the capacity for it. It wasn't the right time. I didn't have the viable market for it. That's why it failed. No? So innovation is not always good. You need all of these three factors. No? So ano yung mga proseso ng innovation? Papakita ko sa inyo, and I'll give you some examples as well of what I did in the past. No? I think I've done hundreds of innovations, but I'll just show you what's relevant. So one way, no, is can I combine it with another existing product or component? Okay. So I used to sell this product. It's a wallet that has a built-in power bank. No. So you combine it with an existing product, which is a wallet that you carry all the way with you all the time. Can you add another product, which is the power bank, so that I can, double the convenience or double the value? No? Okay. So this is me. Actually, this is a picture of me charging my phone with my wallet. No? So I felt, okay, innovation. But, biglang I realized that when people sit on the wallet, parang umiinit yung puwet, no? So, so ang nangyayari, ano lang, so they have to carry it with their hands. Pero it was so convenient for me, no? I have an extra power bank in my wallet na may wire na nakastick lang, tapos I just charge my phone. No? So that's one type of innovation. I'm not saying this is the best example of innovation, but I just want to show you that you can combine it with another product. That's what you call an innovation by combining. You reconstruct two products into one, okay, to make it more convenient for somebody. Ngayon, can I make it better through technology? No? So actually nahanap ko pa tong article na nung 2007 when I launched this, no? If you're familiar with Netopia, okay, I had a partnership with Netopia, about 300 branches nationwide. No, mga internet cafe, uso pa mga internet cafe. Sabi ko, I thought, yung mga napakadaming nagna-nursing review ngayon, okay, using ang kakapal ng mga libro. So anong ginawa ko? So I used the technology of prepaid card ng cellphone. Ginawa ko siyang prepaid card for online review ng nursing. Okay? And somebody could walk into an internet cafe and then buy a review card, tawag ko dyan, review card, no? I scratch the back of the card, nandun yung code. So I sit on an internet cafe, enter the code, less 500 pesos ko. So may 500 pesos credit ka to review the nursing review. Pag naubos yun, bili ka ulit, no? So you can now study review for nursing through prepaid card na tingi-tingi. Kasi nisip ko, yung mga hindi maka-afford ng nursing review sa review center na 5,000 to 10,000 pesos, pwede na ngayon tingi-tingi mag-review, no? As they can afford it, which is about 70% of the market cannot really afford that time, no, to enroll in a review center. Now, this is an example of making it better or more convenient using technology. Okay? And it's an innovation. No? At that time, no one is doing this at all. No? I was the only one doing this. But we were making so much sales that time, no? Until Netopia closed down. We're closing down already sa isa. No? So that's one innovation process. Third, another innovation process is I created a, we call it harana.ph. It was back in 2010 siguro, no? Na nagpapadala kami ng mga artists sa mga loved ones mo to do a wedding proposal or a harana physically sa malls, sa offices. We were everywhere, no? So kami yung gumagawa ng buong wedding proposal para sa iyo, no? Fireworks, flowers. So 100% of the time umiyak yung babae, nakita mo naman sa picture, no? So this is an example of changing the singing telegram concept in the US and Filipinizing it, no? And then turning it into something that is something that Filipinos can relate to, which is the harana. Okay? So ito yung something that we're making really big money from OFWs. Kung gusto mo magpadala ng harana sa mga tao dito sa Pilipinas. So talagang susugod kami sa bahay nila, susugod kami sa school, kasama mo. We got Martin Rivera, we got South Border to sing for you, no? And I don't know if this will play, kung magpe-play ito. How do you play this? Ay, sorry. Okay. Well, hindi siya nagpe-play dito, but it's what we did was, instead of giving roses to your loved ones, why not a video of the actual harana as a memory for life, no? So you innovate the way you give gifts to people by using that technology, no? So that's what happened. And you can view this on YouTube. Napakaraming videos ng harana.ph. Search nyo lang harana.ph. Napakaraming harana videos doon na maiiyak kayo sa mga nangyari. Itong situation na to, we inayos namin na umuwi yung fiancé niya from Singapore. Hindi alam ng UST student na ano pala siya, nakatago pala siya, no? Kala niya harana lang from Singapore, pero yung pala nandyan pala siya, sinurprise siya at lumuhod siya at nag-propose. So napakagandang event during that time. Next is, can you change the way the product is delivered? No? So this is one of our ventures, yung Coffee Crafters, na many years ago, before the pandemic, what if we deliver coffee, no, using tea bags, so that to infuse it, to make it more convenient. So this is a way of innovating how the product is consumed, no? How a product is delivered. How do you, when somebody is enjoying the way he consumes tea, why not do it with coffee? Why not do it with juice? Why not do it with other things? No? So this is one of the innovations that you can do. Another is before the pandemic, we launched Celebrity na kasi before, my first business was greeting cards, no? Which is wala na, right? So we got celebrities to send video greetings. This was many years ago then, before the pandemic. So you're able to send a video greeting from a celebrity without you having to spend money to contact a celebrity just to give a video greeting. So we were able to innovate the way a customer reaches an unreachable product and make it reachable, no, through our platform. Yeah. So that's another way you can innovate. All right. So those are the innovation processes that you can ask yourself: can I combine it? Can I remove something? No, that it can make it more convenient for a client. Make it better through technology. Can I save environment through technology? So maraming mga tanong, no, that you can ask yourself. How do I innovate, no, my current product? So MDP is what I usually say. No, an MDP is actually as opposed to MVP. No, MVP is minimum viable product. Minimum viable product means I will create a product that is viable so that I can test it in the market. Pero what I usually say is you have to make it an MDP, which is the minimum delightful product. Minimum delightful product allows me to test the product more, no, because I will know if my customer is delighted with what I launch. No, so number one, make it from a viable product into a delightful product. Then I will know if my product will sell. And number two, delighting your customer is the starting point. That's the minimum point. Hindi lang siya dapat viable. Dapat you're able to delight your customer, no? When you test your product, test your innovation. Kasi that will drive that customer to refer you to another customer. No? And number three, the customer journey is very important, as it will help you design your product in a way that will delight your customer, determine if it truly gives value at the most basic state, not the most viable state, but the most basic delightful state. No? So always think of minimum delightful product when you release an innovation. Okay? And one of the things I discuss in my book, no, is called inversion thinking. No? When you do innovation, make sure that you begin with the failure in mind. Yan yung hindi natin lahat ginawa nung before the pandemic. Kaya nung nag-pandemic, medyo ngarag tayo lahat, no? Nangarag tayo lahat, and ang innovation natin as we go along, no, during the pandemic, na hindi natin alam, ganito pala pag pandemic, ganito pala. So we have to now change the way we do things. Pero what if you invert your thinking and start now with the failure in mind? So you create a fail scenario, and it's called backplotting and forward avoiding. No, what you do is you plot all the things that can go wrong, and then when you move forward to build your innovation, you avoid all of those failure points, no, so that you can reach success more. You'll be able to succeed more, no, in when you reach that point, no. So ina-avoid mo ang failure point na yan, no. No, so why do I teach this? This is not being optimistic. Actually, this is becoming more what we call you look at the worst case scenarios, but you have to plan against that worst case scenario. Okay, so four things why this is important when you innovate. Number one, sustainability. No, the less I encounter a failure in my path to my end goal, the more I can avoid falling back and repeating activities all over again. No, so I can sustain. No, so sustain ko yan. No, the less I encounter failure, ibig sabihin, I foresee already that failure. Therefore, I can avoid. No, that's one. I can sustain. Number two, I can document foresight. No? So lahat ng mga potential problems ko at the start of the journey pa lang, I can already document it na these are the possible things that can happen. So I can actually get expert advice at the onset. How do I avoid this failure, no, that I foresee in the as we move to the failure point, no? So documented lahat 'yon. Number three, problem solving. So every time you're plotting the scenarios, no, you are now training yourself how to solve problems along the way. No, kasi nakikita mo na yung mga possible problems and the possible brick walls. You can now think of proactive solutions in order to avoid them. So next time, si issue na sa inyo. No, hindi. Diba, napapansin nyo, pagka napagdaanan nyo na lahat ng bagay, pagka you encounter it again in the future, hindi, huwag natin gawin yan. Kasi masama, pangit ang resulta niyan. No? So, nagtatrain nyo yung the way you avoid problems and how you solve problems. And number four, you minimize risk of failure greatly. No, having knowledge of pitfalls beforehand, you may have a longer journey to success. Pero kasi pag tumama ka sa brick wall, kailangan mo ulitin lahat eh. So yun yung gusto nating i-avoid. Okay? And number five, sorry na five things. Your ideas are always challenged. Yan yung takot ang lahat ng startups yan eh, to have their ideas challenged. Usually, tayong mga startups, we're very protective about our product. When somebody challenges our ideas and our products, talagang medyo, teka lang, idea ko to, no? So, if you do inversion thinking, baliktad, no? Have your ideas challenged by people. So, pagka meron kang nakaplot mo na lahat yan, ipasok nyo rin na all the things that your team says na, teka lang, baka mangyari to. Teka lang, ito. Paano pag nangyari to? No? I-challenge mo lang yung innovation in yung product mo. No? That will manage and minimize your risk greatly when that's why you have more chances of success. All right? And lastly, I want to say na when you push out your innovation, you have to have the proper market validation. Yan yung isang problema ng innovation when I do mentoring with the Ateneo engineers and graduate school. Walang proper market validation kasi ang gusto nila mangyari is, cool, sobrang high-tech tong product ko. You know, this product can actually test the content of your fish pond and then you come up with high-quality shrimp. No? Meron tayong product na gano'n sa Ateneo. Pero, if you don't have the proper market validation, you'll be spending the next 4 months, 6 months trying to build your market with a product na hindi pala kailangan ng market mo at this moment. No? So the first thing you have to do is quickly find your first wave of customers muna. Okay? Ang style dyan is, for example, you have 10 customers. Okay? Pabili mo muna sila ng produkto mo. Okay? Kung ang 5 dyan ay mga relatives and friends mo, tanggal mo na sila sa market mo. Okay? Unless na they buy again. No? Itong 5 na natitira, gawin mong, sino dito ang nagbigay ng good feedback sa product ko? Kunyari, 2 lang. Okay. So itong 2 na bumili ulit ng product mo at nagsabi sa iba na, oy, bilhin niyo tong product na to. Itong 2 market mo. So itong 2 na to, which is 2% of the 20% of your current yung lahat ng bumili, what you do now is you profile these two, no? Ano ba sila? Anong gender nila? Ano yung saan sila nakatira? So that when you look for your next wave of customers, itong dalawang profile na lang hanapin nyo. Therefore, the chances of you hitting 80 to 90% sales conversion is much higher already than you trying to look for the other 8 pa. You're trying to hit the 8 people. So that's the beauty about the proper market validation is you're able to know the profile of your customers through the initial purchases. No? So remember that initially, quickly find your first wave of customers. Number 2, be on the field. You have to know, no? Itong dalawa na to, mahanap mo yan by doing interviews, be on the field, talk to them, get feedback immediately. Okay? And number 3, you have to do your competitive scan. Isa pa yan na takot ang mga tao, no? Because they're afraid, no? Dami pala nilang competitors, no? Kala nila, idea nila is the only original idea in the world, pero napakarami palang competitors. So, make sure to do proper market validation, do the proper competitive scan. Hanapin nyo talaga sino competitors mo, how are they pricing things, how are they delivering their product, how they are selling their product in the market. You have to know, no? With these three things, these 3 activities, find quickly your first wave of customers and then profile them. Be on the field, do a competitive scan. With these 3, you will be able to know if your innovation will be successful, no? And make sure that that innovation is really for this time and not for the future. Because in my life, I've developed a lot of products na hindi pa pala kailangan ngayon ng mga tao. Dapat ngayon ko ginawa. I would have sold so many things, no? But when I did it before, I should have done the proper market validation. Now, those who work with me know this one. Okay, in innovation, this is what they do. No, in Innoventures, innovation is our playground. No, so who works with me here? I think is here. Sino ba? Si Bianca is here and Nico is here. What is Sildi? Because this is our battle cry.
Hello. Ako na bibo ako eh. So Sildi means screw it, let's do it.
Yeah, so in innovation, when do imperfect action and do persistent experimentation. Itong dalawang terms na to ang palagi kong sinasabi. CLD means screw it, let's do it. So imperfect action, okay? You act even if it's not perfect, but you do your market validation, you do your inversion to your thinking, no? And persistent experimentation means even if you're experimenting, you keep failing, you are always persistent, no? So itong dalawa ang kailangan mo in order to push your innovation forward. And Sylvie, okay? And thank you very much to our participants. That is the end of my presentation. Good morning.